You really wanted to have control over something. Why do you want to have control over something? Because you wanted to improve the result. So that will happen beautifully only if you measure correctly. If you can't measure, please know you cannot improve. Right? So the understanding about what to measure and when to measure, how to measure and who should measure, how much we should measure, all these questions you must have very, very, effective answer, particularly when you are solving a problem which is critical. Particularly when you are solving a problem which is recurring in nature. You experienced the problem last year, experienced the problem last quarter, experiencing now also. Problem is really recurring and critical. So it is very important you measure it, in the right way. So it's not, the measure phase requirement is not to measure which is something easy for us. The data is available, so we'll use it. Yes, when data is available, it's the measure phase is easy. But do you really wanted to measure the things which are easy for you, or do you really wanted to measure the things which are important for your project? So this must be understood. That is why you have an exclusive phase measure. In that there are three important steps. The first step, fourth step, measurement plan. Right? Dr. RK is going to take you through the fourth step, which is creating a plan of measurement. How much data and which data and who is going to measure, the data type and the unit with which you need to measure. You can measure the cycle time in terms of seconds, in terms of minutes, in terms of days, in terms of month, but which will make sense in your project. The physical unit which you actually use, that is also important, right? So which needs to be measured in seconds needs to be measured. And if you consider Usain Bolt, who is an athlete, for him the microseconds may be important. For him, measuring in terms of seconds may not be helpful in his project because he wanted to come first in the next event. So he has to measure the time in terms of maybe microseconds or milliseconds. All right. So and then finally, one accurate measurement is worth 1,000 opinions. Instead of listening to so many people, try to be data driven, try to be fact driven. So the heart of science is nothing but the measurement, and that is what you are going to learn in the measure phase. So you know how to create a measurement plan so that you will guide your project team member as a real leader, because the project team member, everybody is going to work according to your input. So your input given in the step number 4. As a black belt, you will be able to guide the entire team effectively when you work effectively in step number 4. And then step number 5 will evaluate the measurement system. What kind of measurement system your organization currently has? Do you have a vernier caliper? Do you have a dial gauge? Do you have a CMM? Right? Using these 3 different measurement systems, how my project data is going to be affected. What I can achieve in a vernier, I may not be achieving using the other device. So which is going to be really helpful. And at the same time, you should not be like over optimistic, right? When certain things can be done just with the dial gauge, and using a CMM may make you inefficient. So you have to evaluate the measurement system, evaluate in a way that whether the measurement system is really capable or not, whether the measurement system is adequate or not. There are two words you need to understand. One is adequacy, the other one is capability. What is capability? The ability to measure with minimum error, because no error is impossible. We are going to prove it today afternoon, right? And no error is impossible, so error will be there, but it should measure with the minimum error. The industry standard is 10%. 10% error is permissible. You will learn what is this 10% and all that in the afternoon. And the adequacy. Your data is going to vary from a lower value to higher value. Do I really have a measurement system which can do well at the lower level also, higher level also? Adequacy, isn't it? So what you learn in yellow belt, what you learn in green belt, what you learn in black belt, what you are going to learn in master black belt, the level is going to vary. So that will talk about the adequacy. Similarly, when you have a measurement ranging from a lower value to higher value, is that your measurement system really adequate enough throughout the range? That also needs to be understood. So that is step number 5. Evaluating the measurement system or validating the measurement system. If the measurement system is validated, go ahead, collect the data, try to understand the baseline. What is baseline? Where do you stand as of now from the customer viewpoint? And what is real you really wanted to understand? What is your success rate? What is your failure rate? What is your defect rate? You might think that your defect rate is 5%, but reality may be 40%. You should be able to see the 40% and not the 5%. 5% is your perception, but what is reality? 40% failures are happening. And so you should be really able to capture the 40%. For that, you have to on the subject, and having an appropriate measurement system is important. Sometimes, by choosing a wrong method, we think that our failure rate is only 5%. But when you measure it in a correct way, then you realize your success rate is only 60%. In that aspect also, you will be learning certain tools. Probably you will be learning tomorrow. So ultimately, whether it is success rate or failure rate, or it is your CPCPK, or it is your PPPPK, or it is going to be your sigma level, or it is going to be your DPMO or PPM, in my opinion, all of them are same. You must understand that all of them finally helps you to understand your baseline. Where do you stand? And then where do you want to go. So the gap in performance is understood. So the outcome of the measure phase is the real gap in the performance is understood by the project team. Now, a lot of updation will happen in the project charter once the measure phase is done properly. It is only after the measure phase you start understanding the problem much better. In define phase itself, you understood, you spent, put some effort and energy. But now when you collect data, the problem becomes much more focused because you have data in your hand. Go back and update your project title, update the problem statement, update the business case, update everything. And that is why it is called a living document. And if the updates, is a major update, then it should be again reapproved. So this is what in essence, the, measure phase will be. There are a lot of tools, very, very important tools you will be learning. So I think we can now move on to the step number 4. If there is any question you people would like to ask based on your learnings and the discussion we had on day 1 and day 2 and the recap I have done, if there are any question, feel free to ask. Any question? No question?
No, sir. So far, so good.
Very good.